have a bunch of pillows that I stack up so I'm like over my food because of my beard. It just always gets in my beard. It's such a hassle.
Wow.
Like I can no longer eat like ice cream cones.
Some fun facts about us too, or are we just thinking
That'd be
names?
good.
Yeah, maybe a few fun facts. Things you wouldn't expect by looking at us.
Treat it like your first day in a college class where they're like, okay, say your major.
Yeah, say your major and say something fun about yourself. Just have fun with it.
Oh, I'm not good at stuff like that.
Right? Like I lift weights.
There's too much, of course. Yeah, there's too much pressure. Well, what's your fun fact about yourself?
I was actually going to think about fun facts for other people. Because it's hard to come up with yourself, but I can think of one for you, Joe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have one for you. I don't know if you'd want it to be on.
I can think of one for Brandon, but yeah, it's funny, at least from just observationally.
Actually, I would love to hear it, but I'll just say it's less of a fun fact, more the first thing I noticed about you. When you first came to Kabuki, it was uncanny, the timing. I was just telling Kyle how I have an obsession, a love for fanny packs. And he was giving me shit for it. And I was like, and he goes, if you ever wear one of those, I'm going to make so much fun of you to work. And I go, I'll tell you what, that's how you know you're a real man, if you can pull it off. Seconds later, big ass Joe walks into Kabuki's drink for the first time ever, rocking a mean fanny pack. Yeah. It was just perfect timing. I don't know why. That was just one of the first things I saw about you.
It's funny because people still like try to give me shit, and I'm just like, I couldn't care less what you think.
That's like the most masculine thing ever to me. Like just wearing it, not giving a fuck. It's
you'll see that like they try to like dig, and I don't care, and that it doesn't last very long. But they like make fun of me.
Yeah,
it's convenient. I love wearing it.
I don't like shit just flopping around your pocket. I just don't like it.
There's too many mornings where I was just like trying to find stuff, and then something gets moved, and it just like frustrates me so much. And then put it in your pockets, then take it out of your pockets. And then like a lot of times what happened, because I was just wearing shorts when I was working at gyms, and I hate wearing like my keys and my wallet. And my phone. It just like weighs your shorts down.
Yeah.
And so I just got a fanny pack. Like, this is incredible.
I feel like it's such an obvious choice. People are just too scared to wear them.
I would say my fun fact about you is just through seeing the way you eat, I think people would assume you're like a chicken, rice, and broccoli guy. And like you're slamming like mac and cheese.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You said you have McDonald's like 3 to 4 times a week. And
more like 2 to 3, but yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think I eat less junk food like per capita than you.
Probably.
It's
Probably,
That's funny.
Yeah. People are baffled by that, but I really do eat. Like, what do they call it? The pancake buns and sausage middle, the
McGriddles.
McShits, yeah, McGriddles. I really do eat probably 3 of those per week every week. I really do love them. And what I usually do is just have like a normal, macro-sensible breakfast, and then my dessert for every meal is one of those or something like that. So, yeah, I definitely surprise people with that.
My fun fact for you is also food-related.
Really?
Yes.
What is it? Well, you're looking at me. It makes me a little scared. Do you catch me eating something weird?
It's when you're eating soup.
Oh, go for that one. That one's funny. It's 100% true, though.
Well, when you share offices that are close by, sometimes, we see each other eating food, walking by. Brandon's just sitting there eating soup at his desk with his shirt off.
Hey, I get
but it's everywhere.
But I thought maybe it was just that one time. Maybe he was hot. But then it happened again, and I'm like, okay, he likes to eat with his shirt off.
It's funny because I don't even train with my shirt off. I really don't. I don't do anything with my shirt off, but it's a necessity.
You don't even like taking your shirt off for videos.
No, not for anything. Yeah. Nothing. But with soup. I'm going to ruin my outfit for the day, so I have to. I'd go in underwear if I could.
I get it. I have to change I have to, like, when I eat at home on the couch, I have to, like, I have a bunch of pillows that I stack up so I'm, like, over my food because of my beard. It just always gets in my beard. It's such a hassle.
Wow.
Like, I can no longer eat, like, ice cream cones because it just gets everywhere.
Wow.
It's just, like caked in my beard, so I just don't do it.
Yeah, I never thought
of that.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, that's
sometimes
really
you have to like hold it to eat stuff.
Yeah,
it's not fun.
I saw one guy while eating ramen like tie it up in a certain way so he can eat it. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's smart.
Yeah, that's really smart actually.
It's a fun fact about you.
Yeah.
You're the smartest person that works here. Is that the fun fact? Yeah, I don't know. Well,
Like, you haven't worked with me long enough because you took over my office.
yeah.
We've never had a chance to really film a lot together either.
No, we've done a couple like seminars together though. So
Yeah.
and you can definitely tell that like the side you come from is like the education side, as opposed to like I liked lifting weights, so then I learned stuff, whereas you've have read textbooks and stuff.
I don't know if that's a fun fact.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a nice well, I think because I've dealt with a lot of people that are that way, that have like unpractical views of lifting, and so to have like the intersplicing of the experience with a bit of the education is refreshing. I think a lot of us, you have like certifications and stuff, but did you study this in college?
Yeah.
Too?
Yeah,
Okay.
bachelor's in exercise science.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see, because like Brandon doesn't, and I don't have like that. Like I went to college, but not for that kind of stuff. So interesting to see like the different beginnings of that into there.
Yeah, my dumbass thought you needed a degree to work here. I was finishing up college.
I mean,
I was
some
thinking,
people
I
think
gotta get
that
one.
you need a degree to even just be a personal trainer.
Yeah.
And
Well, I will
that is
say
not
that actually
the
would be a
case.
fun conversation topic, because I do think that personal training certifications are just dog shit as far as what they
Yeah.
require. Like I remember we had one personal trainer that just had never worked out a day of his life, but he had the attitude. He was a real fun, bubbly kind of guy. The second our manager saw that, he goes, okay, you have no certifications, take this 2-week course, yada, yada, yada. 2 weeks later, he's a personal trainer with nothing else going for him. So just crazy.
No,
but
I know some personal trainers who are like, oh, I took this 18-question test last night, and so now I have a certification. And I'm just like, okay.
it's honestly kind of scary.
for
But
you.
one fun fact I got to give before I move on too far is that I will say, when I first met you, like the Disney music, pounds of candy, all that stuff kind of draws a certain picture of what you're like, but you're also incredibly, I don't know how to describe it. For example, you're the only one that can coach Doyle. You're also incredibly stern. I think stern's the right word. I don't know what the right word is. There's something. You know what I'm getting at? Like
Maybe.
one doesn't support the other, but yeah, it's really good for coaching, especially some individuals. Anyways, a little off-putting, just kind of funny how many candy you eat, how much you love Disney music, but also, and then the reggae music and stuff like that. Really interesting mix there.
You're
Really
an
interesting.
eclectic person.
Eclectic
There you go.
person.
That was a good word. Yeah.
Fun facts. Speaking of candy, do
What?
you eat candy at competitions?
Yeah.
So what is your favorite candy to bring to a competition? both of you.
Last competition, I brought 5 pounds of Swedish fish. That was about it. I have to be careful because I like the sour candies and stuff. I gotta be careful because then you'll just be like, your mouth will be trashed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've made that mistake before.
So I have like a bunch of the sour watermelon and like this new like Sour Patch Kids have there's like peach and grape and that kind of stuff, which is really good. It's pretty new.
Yeah.
But I gotta be careful because then like I just like sort of a 2-day competition. I'm not gonna be able to eat the next day.
Yeah.
If my mouth is just like Swiss cheese. But yeah, Swedish fish are pretty good. And then because I personally like at a competition, I just like I can't eat solid. I don't know how people.
Same.
I see people with like chicken and rice. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like I'll have one bite and my like throat closes and my stomach is just
Yeah.
nothing. I'm just way too nervous. So that and like all liquid is like the only way I can get stuff in.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Same
the
here.
thing about competing. I really don't think I can stomach like a single meal throughout the competition day is tough.
Yeah.
It's a tall order for me. Usually it's 100% snacks, and then if I'm looking for like a high quality protein source, almost has to be a whey or something like that.
Yeah.
And as far as candy goes, I really like the change in textures. I really don't like the just gummy, like the Sour Patch watermelons. I really don't just like that. I like to add in the Skittles. So I do a lot of combinations. I'll make like a child. I'll make like a watermelon Sour Patch, Skittle, strawberry Sour Patch sandwich and just be really proud of it. So that's usually my go-to is just that mixed up in textures.
How about you?
The Black Forest gummy bears.
Ooh, and we did have
Yeah.
that in common. Yeah.
Well, I think they were marketed as fruit snacks,
Yeah.
but they were really just gummy bears.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
But-
that's a fine line of fruit snacks. Like what? Because it like was like it is shaped like fruit.
Yeah.
So it has
Yeah.
like 1% of your daily value of vitamin C and like 4 packages of them. So,
I don't
it
know
was-
where they delineate there, but
But I can't do sour just because it will mess up my mouth.
see, that's my thing with sour Skittles. That's my favorite kind of Skittle, but it will fuck
Oh,
me
yeah.
up. I gotta be very
so
careful.
I noticed because I had the sour Skittle gummies and I was really, because they're really good. And I ate the whole package and I was like, oh no. I just thought like I was done for. And it never happened.
With sour Skittles?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
those are like the
sour Skittle
worst.
gummies.
Oh, I haven't tried the Skittle gummies
And so I
yet.
don't know if it's the
Okay.
difference between like because like it's not in your mouth for as long, I guess, because you're kind of chewing the Skittles for a while, and like
Yeah.
this gummy, you kind of chew it a little bit and then it's gone. So I think the fact that it sticks around for a while is the thing that like eats away.
I could see that. Have you tried the gummy Skittles? Or how are
They're
they?
really good.
They're really good.
Really?
The regular
Really
sour,
good.
the regular Skittle gummies are pretty good, but the sour Skittle gummies are like they taste just the same. Oh, they're so fucking good. Oh my god.
See, it's funny. I bought a package hoping that you guys would want to try it midway through a podcast. The first that bag I came in. Then Brandon was like, eh. So I'm just sitting in there. I've been waiting to try the gummy Skittles for a
one today,
podcast. So
yeah.
they're still sitting in there. I might grab them
we will.
in a minute.
We will. Also, have you guys had those energy drinks that the flavor is Swedish fish or
I had one
think
yesterday.
it kind of freaks me out how much it tastes like
So-
a Swedish fish.
I think they released them on a specific order because they recently came out with like Bubblicious and it is not good. And it
I
doesn't
can't
taste
imagine.
like it. Swedish fish is like kind of close, but like not too bad. But like the Sour Patch Kid ones are like, it's weird.
It's weird.
Spot on,
Yes,
yeah.
it's
Spot
weird.
on. It's
like
so strange. And because like the first time was like, because I had the Skittles C4 thing. And I was like,
Oh, I know what you're talking
what?
That-
Was
Didn't taste
the
any.
person who made it not allowed to like even look at Skittles? Like figure it out based off what they like of like an idea. Like they weren't allowed to taste it at all. It doesn't taste anything like it. It's not bad, but it doesn't taste anything like
No.
it. And then so I'm like, well, how close could it be? And I drank it and it was really scary because it tastes exactly the same.
The Swedish fish one?
No, the Sour Patch Kid ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
just mess with your mind. You're like, am I drinking
It tastes like you're
something or am I
chewing
chewing
a Sour Patch Kid.
a Sour Patch Kid?
Oh, I've tried that. Yeah,
It's
I've
really
tried
good.
that.
It's same sour. If you like sour stuff, it's really, really good.
Yeah.
It's only like 200 milligrams caffeine too, so it's like not too extreme.
Yeah.
But Swedish fish one, I like it, but it doesn't taste too much like it. But I still drink it all the time. I don't know. But the Bubblicious one was like really bad.
Yeah, I don't like the cotton candy bang. Some people are crazy about them. To me, it tastes nothing like actual cotton candy.
I
It
also
really
like,
doesn't.
I'm not a cotton candy person.
I think I'm going to like cotton candy.
Yeah.
I want it every
Yeah.
time, and then I eat it, and I'm just like, why did I buy this?
Birthday cake and cotton candy flavor.
Yep.
are so
I always think I'm
overrated.
going to like it.
Yeah.
To me, with cotton candy, you need to like get the fair, freshly made swirl in it right there. That's the only time it's really good.
It's like half the fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
The
And it's
texture.
fun to have something this big that like turns into like this big. in your mouth.
Yeah.
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 That's all the fun. Wow. So you guys are candy connoisseurs. What is this? What are your go-tos? Do you eat candy every day, or is it just training?
I'm honestly almost a little disappointed with how much I eat it.
Yeah.
I'm a little afraid to admit it, but
Yeah.
it's an everyday thing for me. It's kind of concerning how much I
Yes.
eat.
Actually, I was in the car the other day. So since we have Xander, I sit in the back seat when Colby drives us everywhere because I want to sit next to him.
Yeah.
We were on a road trip, and I just opened up a bag, and just by me opening a bag, or Colby didn't hear the bag open, but he smelled the candy, and he's just like, "Are you eating jelly beans back there?" And I was just like, "Yes," and it was 9 a.m. or something stupid like that.
Yeah. Good energy
But
for the day.
I was eating.
Yeah.
Have you had what is it? Starburst jelly beans?
Yes.
Oh my god.
There's a
They're
debate about
so
that.
good.
I haven't tried them.
I think they only come
There's
out
a
around
big
Easter or something.
Yes, I think they
yeah.
only come around.
I've
So,
heard
like-
some people say they're absolute trash. Some people love them.
I love them,
It doesn't like, I
Yeah.
mean, they don't taste like Starburst, but it just tastes really good.
but I just like jelly beans.
Yeah. I like jelly beans a lot, yeah.
I'm even one of those weird people that like the black licorice jelly beans
I do too.
and the popcorn jelly bean.
I
from-
love
You do?
man.
Oh, okay. See,
Popcorn's
this is
my
why
thing.
we're all. This is why we all work together.
I'll get a bag of just popcorn
Yes.
sometimes. Like, it's so
I
good.
they just sold it. That is such a, like, I don't know. It's a flavor that, like, I don't even know if I like it, but it's just such a different and interesting flavor.
It is.
I just like, I don't know, I have a morbid curiosity with like continuing to have it. I don't know. I don't know if I can have, it's one of those things I can have a little bit, and then if I have like just a little bit too much, like I'm going to throw up.
Yeah.
Think about it too much? I don't know.
I have a few of those actually.
Did you guys try that Chips Ahoy with Sour Patch Kids bits in it?
Ooh,
I
here's the
did
thing. I'm a
not.
big Chips Ahoy guy. So that's kind of like my other addiction. Like most nights, dessert, just a bunch of Chips Ahoy dipped in milk. But I won't touch that. I refuse. That's
I did
terrible.
not hear good things about it.
Yeah, for
I don't know how could it be good.
I know there's like Sour Patch ice cream and stuff, and Sour Patch cereal. I don't like milk, and I mean milk and sugar is cool, but like I guess that's all it is.
They're reaching.
But sour
Yeah.
with milk, I think that's not a good
That's not a
combination.
good combination.
Oh.
No.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Well, should we talk about serious stuff?
Sure.
Like the reason you're here.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
talk about this pregnancy stuff, and I do want to one day figure out exactly how many breadsticks it was. I watch these food addiction things where like people only eat potatoes and like show this is how many potatoes you eat in a year. I want to do that with breadsticks one day.
Well,
with
not to
you.
keep talking about candy, but while I was pregnant, I actually didn't eat a lot of candy.
Oh really?
Yeah,
That's surprising.
I did not have a sweet tooth, and I love ice cream. I love my salt and straw. Didn't want it during pregnancy. Didn't want my gummies. Didn't want my candy, but I wanted everything salty, which is why I ate Olive Garden breadsticks and their soup multiple times a week.
Did you have a
for many weeks.
stereotypical pickle phase?
I did not.
That's really common. I feel like you didn't though.
There's sodium, I guess, too. There was
Yeah.
the pickle face. Was
Yeah.
just
No.
what is the least amount of food that you ordered from Olive Garden just so you could get breadsticks?
I mean, I think I always just ordered a bunch of breadsticks.
And that was it.
Oh.
There are times where I just ordered breadsticks.
That's awesome. And like they're okay with that?
Yeah, you can just buy breadsticks and salad, and then they have extra sides. Like you can buy them in 6 or 12.
But like, I mean, did you ever be like, don't worry about the salad? Like, just give me breadsticks.
I think I did just buy breadsticks.
That's
sometimes.
awesome.
Yeah, I didn't eat the salad.
I remember they delivered it one time and the back of the bag was broke.
That was Ron.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
Ron.
we're-
Okay.
And then they comped him free breadsticks, and I was just like, can I just have that bag? Can I have that bag so that I can say that my bag broke and then I can get free breadsticks?
That's awesome.
But I didn't do that.
Did you, so I'm always curious, but did you, like with what you ate in your diet, did you like track for a while? Did you try to do that? And then eventually we're just like, whatever, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat whatever I want? Or like, how did you, because I've heard the thing where it's like, you only need like a 300 calorie surplus. I'm like, okay.
yeah.
Well,
Like that
that's
would be
the-
tough.
That's the crazy part, though, is that I didn't feel like I needed a ton of extra calories in the beginning. And so now current research actually says that you don't need a lot of extra calories or when you're pregnant.
Yeah.
And so, and don't quote me on this, but I want to say like the first trimester is obviously the least, and then like maybe an extra 100 or something small like that. And then like by the end of pregnancy, it's maybe an extra around 300. But it's when you're breastfeeding that you need, I think they mentioned an extra 500 calories.
Oh.
But you always hear you're going to eat for 2 now that you're pregnant, but it's actually after where
Yeah.
I'm just famished all the time. I'm starving. And yeah, it's just I mean, it makes sense, I guess, when you're giving a bunch of calories to someone else.
Right.
I'd be interested to see the macronutrient breakdown change that happened with like the breadstick phase and stuff like that. I'd be really interested.
Well,
to hear
so
what that
protein
is.
was my first aversion.
Yeah.
So funny story, at nationals, no one knew I was pregnant yet. And
Yeah.
so I was going to bed. We would have 8-hour days? That's longer than that at
I think
nationals.
longer, yeah.
Yeah, and I handled someone every day, and so I would go into my hotel room and just pass out. And Kyle and Charlie just thought I was a really good employee because they were just like, "Oh, she's such a hard worker. She's just going straight to her room and working on clients."
All business.
Yeah, it was more just because I was exhausted and I had to go pass out. And Rudy always likes to take us out for steak dinners on the last night. And he takes us out, and I had to order a steak. And luckily I ordered like their surf and turf, so I had some seafood with it. But the first thing I did, I looked in the menu, and right when I looked at the menu, I just felt like I was going to vomit. I was just like, I can't do this. But I got the steak. Because I was like, you know what, maybe it's not that bad. Because I love steak. Yeah. I'm still going to order it. So I still ordered it, and I took a few bites. I couldn't do it. So most of my pregnancy, my macros, the protein is probably way down here, and everything else is way up.
I don't know how it could. If you kept calories even similar with the breadsticks, I don't know how protein can be down. There's so much carbs coming from it. As far as first trimester, though, I know there's some big hormonal changes. Like, for example, there's some testosterone increases and things of that nature, from my understanding at least. Did you notice any of your lifts actually got better in the first trimester?
No, but only because I had a lot of dizziness. So like I actually had to take out bench press super early. So if you look at a lot of guidelines, and even the program I was following, had bench press way into the third trimester, but I actually had to stop it during the first trimester just because I would get so lightheaded laying down and sitting up, and
not even from lifting, from the
just from laying
change.
down, and then and usually that doesn't happen. So when you're pregnant or more towards the third trimester, you're actually not even supposed to lay flat, just because it puts too much pressure on the blood supply for your baby.
Standing up.
Well, you basically by the end of pregnancy, I was sleeping on the couch and sometimes the recliner because I was so uncomfortable.
Sitting. Mm-hmm. Oh my god!
Would a big ass lazy boy work? Like
that's what I was. Yeah, because
okay.
Sleeping on my side was uncomfortable because everything hurt at that point, and I couldn't lay flat because they don't want to cut off the blood supply. So
I've also been full before, so same.
That was basically what
you don't want to lay you don't want to lay flat when you're.
That's like after my knee surgery, I couldn't. I had to lay flat, but like it wasn't comfortable. I was uncomfortable the whole time, and like I couldn't lay on my side because it just like hurt. You don't realize like how nice it is to just be able to like sleep however you want.
Yeah.
Until you can't, it sucks.
True. Yeah.
And then I actually had a C-section. So then right after birth, I couldn't. Like, that was horrible because I had to get up multiple times in the middle of the night to take care of my baby.
Yeah.
But that was rough.
Man, I would not expect bench to be the first lift you have to drop.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
And that might have just been me, but
and was it like if you were just like laying down and then stood up, would it be the same, or is it because like your blood pressure rose because you were like doing something and then got up?
I'm not sure.
The blood pressure dropped.
I'm not sure because I already have a low blood pressure. Like I just naturally, my blood pressure is probably in the low 90s. And over 60 something. Yeah. And so just with the hormonal changes, and I know that dizziness is something that comes with pregnancy, but sometimes for some people, but it might have just been hormones wreaking havoc on my body.
So what trimester, what point did you have to drop compounds completely?
I never did.
Oh, you never did? Okay.
Maybe if I did, it wasn't intentional. It was more just because, I don't know, I think by the end of my pregnancy, I was just not really focused on my workouts at all. Yeah. And I was just coming in to walk around, but it wasn't like I programmed intentionally to take out my compound lifts. Okay. I probably have it in my program that they were still in there, and then I just missed them. Yeah. I just wrote in that I missed them because I just didn't want to do them. But
I'd assume that sumo deadlift would be a hell of a lot easier.
Yes, I had to switch to sumo. So
okay.
Let's see. When was our seminar here? I think was that October? No, or something like that. So I was still doing conventional with trap bar at that point. But then I remember Christmas. I think I switched to sumo. So I was doing sumo for a while. It was just off of blocks.
Oh, so, well reduced.
Yeah, because I was having some SI joint pain by the end. And so, I was really focusing more just on making sure I wasn't like bearing down, holding my breath. And so I didn't want to put myself through any exercise that I would tend to do that because, even though I said I was taking it easy, I think that when you're athletic, there's no way to just do something without really feeling the effect of it, right? So, even if I was doing a single joint exercise, I still wanted to feel that burn and that pump. But then, I would go towards, 0 to 1 reps in reserve. And even with that, you'd still end up holding your breath a little bit. And I'm like, oh, crap, I can't do that. I can't do that.
Yeah. How much of your training do you think was like, not to just be healthy and have a good pregnancy? How much of it just because like that's what you always have done? Like
I think a lot of it is, yeah. Another course that I took just talks about, the athletic brain and pregnancy, and just how, if you have that athletic mindset and you become pregnant, most of the general advice out there is to, exercise, but the exercise that they recommend, generally speaking, is always just yoga or gentle or light and easy walking, right? So it's, but if you're an athlete, you're going to keep doing what you love to do. And so, the shift though is, recognizing like, oh yeah, okay, I have an athletic brain, so I'm going to want to push myself in some form, but it's just being able to find, okay, well, where can I put that athletic brain into a certain type of workout, right? Because obviously it couldn't be heavy squat, bench, and deadlift. And it's like, when was the last time I ever did workouts with squat, bench, and deadlift first sets greater than 10, right? Like that wasn't me, but I needed to have some sort of stimulus to just keep me mentally going, because I wanted to do it. So even though I wasn't, doing heavier, lower rep work, that what I'm used to, at least I could still keep squat, bench, and deadlift in the mix. I just had to modify it and then kind of tell myself, this is my challenge, right? To stick to sets of 10, stick to sets of 12, even though I didn't want to, right? But I just had to find something that was still going to challenge me without compromising the hard work that my body was already doing. Because that was the insane part is, you hear how everyone's tired during pregnancy, but I mean, the fatigue that I felt, it's just like unrelenting. Just like a wave would just hit you. Like there were a couple times where I put the do not disturb sign on my office and it was just like, I'm passing out, I'm going to sleep right now, just because it was just overwhelming. And so it's like, you're training, I want to train, but again, I don't want to take away from the work that my body is already trying to do, and my body's already working hard. So then I'm already sleeping because of that. So it's like trying to balance, okay, how do I train without taking away from the actual, priority right now? And so another analogy, so someone asked me, they were like, so is your pregnancy basically just like a giant deload? And I was like, actually, you can look at it as it's a giant peak. I was like, because like I was working really hard and then getting close to birth, then I deload, and then birth is the event. And so like when I looked at it that way, it's like, oh yeah, I'm training for birth, or even though there's not a lot of, I mean, you can't really say that this exercise is going to give you an easier birth. Like there's you can't say that, but like I wanted to move better, so then that way, at least I felt better for birth,
I'll tell you what, there might be something there peaking for pregnancy.
I mean, I gotta tell you,
pregnancy. I love the way you just explained that so much. I've never thought about it like that.
About 2 weeks after my competition, I felt that fatigue you were feeling, for sure. When you just get hit with waves of fatigue. So tired.
I know exactly what you mean.
Just walking, just like, oh gosh.
Everything hurts, right?
Well, makes no sense.
You're trying to eat, trying to keep.
It's funny too that you couldn't like bear down at the end, and so you wanted like exercise. You couldn't do that. Like bench is like an easy one, and so it sucks you couldn't do that. Yeah. Because you can modify. You're just laying there and just doing that, but you couldn't do that. That sucks. And so like, how much? So you did like BFR training while you were pregnant? No.
So actually, pregnancy is a contraindication. For BFR. It's when I took a course, I asked one of the instructors about it, and was just like, well, why? Well, and they were pretty honest. They were just like, well, as far as research goes, we don't really want to do a bunch of research on with pregnant women with BFR. It's, no, I don't think anyone really wants to risk that, or women probably don't want to be the test subject for.
Well, it seems like
give birth to a jacked baby or something. Growth hormone surges.
So many so many training recommendations for individuals or women that are getting pregnant. They're so vague.
Yeah.
They're so unbelievably vague. And when people address it or like people talk about it, it almost seems like it's all uncharted territory as far as exact specifications and exact questions. And I find it so interesting because it shouldn't be as far as people always getting pregnant. But at the same time, it's a really good point. There's no one that's willing to be a test subject to test certain things like BFR. But it's super interesting to me just how vague the advice is.
I mean, I think it's just so hard because every woman is different.
Yeah.
And even every woman with each of their pregnancies can be so different. So it's like you can't really predict it. All you know is that your body's going through a ton of changes hormonally, physically, mentally, and you can kind of guess like, okay, during each trimester this is happening for your body, but you know, at the end of the day, you just have to remember what the priority is. It's growing a human, and then being able to modify based on how you feel. And I think, you know, rest is probably the important thing. Just like you would with an athlete who's not pregnant, you would tell them, you know, you have to get a lot of recovery in, right? Recovery is important. Rest is super important. And so, you know, with pregnancy, I would say that that's one of the things where you have to value, you know, just getting enough rest, but also like not tiptoeing around training either. Like there are so many people that were just like, oh my gosh, be careful, you're still pregnant. Like be careful, which I understand. It's well intended. It's you know,
well intended. But I'll tell you what,
intended.
I've actually had many athletes of mine that become pregnant and have to deal with like legitimate internet bullying.
Oh, yeah.
Because they dare squat in the first trimester, or they dare do X, Y, Z, and just so many people like, careful, you're about to pop, or or like big long messages talking about you're responsible, just so on and so forth. That's another really hard part. I feel like if you're socially active while being pregnant and you dare post something like that, they receive a lot of hate. It's pretty crazy.
Well, and it's like what we do know about exercise, right? We know that it does good things for our hormones and just like everything that, you know, as far as like endorphins go and just you know, making you feel good. We know that there's benefits physiologically for, you know, your bone, muscle, all of that. So it's like, why would you take that away during pregnancy? You know, but you know, on the other hand, though, I will say that like there's always going to be a happy medium, right? But there's the other end of the extreme where I feel like there are some women who try to make it like, look at me, I'm pregnant and I'm going super hard. And I think that can actually be dangerous to some women because pelvic floor dysfunction is a thing. And, you know, when you think about the pelvis and, you know, here's your pelvic floor and imagine it as like a hammock, right? And just there's already a lot of pressure with your normal body weight. And then you start adding everything. You start adding the baby, you start adding the fluid, everything, all the weight gain in such a short amount of time. Like 10 months in the grand scheme of things is not very long in how much you change. And so, you know, when you see a lot of women trying to just push really, really hard, but you don't really hear about those underlying issues that can happen with pelvic floor dysfunction, or it just gets kind of brushed under the rug like, oh yeah, peeing is normal after giving birth, or low back normal, or peeing with exertion. Peeing is still normal after giving birth, but peeing with exertion is normal after you give birth, or, you know, low back pain is normal. That I wouldn't say it's normal, and I think that it can be very misleading if people just think, oh yeah, I can just push super hard. You still have to consider all of the mechanical changes that are actually happening to the body.
Yeah, the best like roadmap I've ever seen is like basically take your current fitness level and do the same stuff you're doing and then just like taper it down. But you never know. I mean, like if I was going to build a plan for you, I'd be like, cool, we can probably still deadlift and squat and like do that kind of stuff. We'll do that for a long time, and then near the end we'll probably do some bench and then some like, and then it's like that's where I go, and then immediately that's out the window.
Yeah,
you know?
It's funny if I like just having very little knowledge base of this process, but if I was developing a plan for you, like, you're going to become a bench specialist. You're gonna kill it in the bench press. You're gonna hit a new world record when we're done. And then a few weeks in, can't bench press. It's like
that's like when my legs didn't work. So people are like, dude, your bench is gonna fly. And it's actually like when you can't use your legs, it's pretty hard to bench and like get down to the bench.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't realize like you can't do push-ups because like of the like kind of passive pressure on your knees.
Yeah.
And there's only so much stuff you can do. And so I just like didn't go that route, like pushing that hard. I just decided I was like, well, I'm just gonna train a bit, just push weight, and then I did because I couldn't do cardio, so the only cardio I could do was with my arms.
Yeah.
So my arms were just like I added an inch to my arms in like a couple months, but it was probably just inflammation and stuff, you know. But I was doing like the assault bike just with my arms because that's all I could do.
Yeah.
So instead of like, yeah, it'd be cool if I got like a bench press PR, but like it'd also be probably cool if like my blood flowed a little better and like my resting heart rate went down and my blood pressure went down. I lost a little bit of weight.
Well, and that's the thing that people really miss in recovery methods like that, or just recovery journeys like that. If you do it right, you spend so much time doing the rehab specifically for your knee that pretty much replaces the entirety of your normal training time, or damn close to it. And I know with you, I was really impressed. One of the first things I noticed about you after the injury is you did a lot of rehab work for that knee. I saw you in the corner always doing something for it, and most people don't, and it shows in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, doing it correctly and actually spending time doing the rehab you're supposed to do with the profession you're working with takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Well,
they told me, they're like, do it X amount of times a day for this. And they told me later, it's like, honestly, we give that so that people do about 50% of that. I was like, well, I did all of it, so it's fine. And it worked, but yeah.
Well, and it was impressive to actually see that your rehab, it pushed you. Like, it was hard, right? And I think that a lot of times people think that rehab is easy, like supine exercises doing nothing, where it's like, no, rehab, you know, it's the same principles. You have to push yourself hard enough for your body to adapt. But, you know, people have this image of rehab as like, oh, a bunch of TheraBand, which, you know, TheraBand, there is a place for that, you know.
And I did that in the beginning.
Right. But even in the beginning, doing those simple exercises were challenging, right?
You basically take yourself like to that limit and you just push that. And you get really good at it. And then every day you're like, all right, like I'm pretty much tapped out for today. I got to stop. Yeah. And then it's enough that I can recover the next day. And then you just kind of push that limit more and more. But like you have to push it because you get pretty quickly. Your body's like, I can do this stuff pretty easily. And you can just kind of do the bends and like that kind of stuff. And like, you're fine. But that doesn't get you like any better, you know?
Yeah. And someone that really shows that well is actually a lot of stuff that you're having Doyle do. And the other individuals he's working with, you look at Doyle and
he's a special case, though.
He is definitely a special case. But the point being, like a larger, highly specialized athlete like that doing something as simple as a shin box get up is an unbelievably tall order.
Yeah.
Like it is unbelievably tall order. Him doing 6 reps per side and he's dripping sweat harder than he would in his typical powerlifting training. That's also very fucking intense. So it's just crazy how people think of that. But if you look at someone like Doyle, some of the work like that is his hardest work he does in his training. So rehab stuff is not just a walk in the park.
No, it's not. And obviously you're going to meet it to, whoever the patient is. But I guess I have to say this carefully. But one of my biggest pet peeves working in the clinic is always just seeing that the prescribed amount of sets and reps for anything is always automatically like a 3x10. Right. It's like 3x10 for everything forever. And, then we're sitting here saying like, oh, we're strengthening the patient to do this. But when you look at strengthening principles, right, like even when we're programming, we're not always just doing sets of 10, right? Or it's like sets of 10 for everything. And then, you'll look at the patient and they, the best is when I'm like, oh, did you do a set of 10? They're like, oh, I just did all 30 in one set. And I'm just like, it's probably not hard enough, and they're just like, oh, but they're just like, oh, I always just do all 30 in one set. And I'm sitting there like, okay, I'm going to change this.
The simplest things about adaptation are just completely lost with some rehab programs. They really are. Just even something as simple as progressive overload, just out the window with so many individuals.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean that it has to be something super hard. Again, when you first started, you were just doing a short arc quad probably, or maybe not even that. You were probably just engaging and isometric, right?
Yeah, like straightening my knee out, pushing against like a towel, like that kind of stuff. But
for you at that point, it was hard, right? Yeah. So it's always just that in that moment in time was enough overload for you to adapt to it. Yeah. But you shouldn't be doing that forever, right?
Yeah, it was like a week of that, and then it was like, all right, the next thing, and then gain mobility back, and then it was just like more and more and more and more stuff. And that's like, even with rehab stuff being hard, the stuff you're having Colby do, which you had me do, which is like the side plank and then like lift your leg. it looks like nothing. It's so hard to do.
Yeah.
You're just like cooked in the first like couple, and like, because he was saying I have a hard time like having my hips in the right position. So I was showing him what you showed me, like against the wall, like that kind of stuff. And he lifts his leg and he's just like, he's shaking immediately. And I remember it was so hard.
Yeah.
But that kind of stuff, like, one, looks easy, but is also like the next progression of something that people won't do.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they lift it up, it's going to be way too hard. Like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go back to like clamshells.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, if clamshells are what gets you a good stimulus, then hey,
Yeah.
like, then do it. But
I think it's just like, and it'd be people that just like kind of like do 10 and then they just check
Yeah.
the box and like, all right, I'm on my next thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because also like the rehab stuff that I do, like I also then like train after too.
Yeah.
And like people just do the rehab stuff to like warm them up to then just like go sit down, you know. How like, because that's a touchy subject, because if you push people too hard and they get hurt, man, that sucks.
Like
But,
in a rehab setting?
Yeah,
In
like
the
for
clinic?
you, like, I mean, how careful do you have to be that like to not push them too hard? Because like, can you get like a buy-in from them to be like, hey, I'm going to push you to
It really
like,
just,
actually get you
yeah,
better?
a part of that is a lot of patient education. And so it also just depends who you're working with, right? Like if I'm working with someone who never exercises, but they were told by their doctor they have to go to physical therapy and it's brand new, right? If I just cook them the first day, they're not going to come back, right? There's going to be like,
thought it
you
was a
hurt me,
massage.
right? Or yeah, or they're,
I thought they were going to massage.
well,
Like, what
that's-
is this?
That happens to me a lot. Like I do manual therapy in the clinic, but you know, it's not massage. But I've had a few patients who are just like, oh, you know, can't you just massage me, or can I just be here for the massage and I'll do my exercises at home? That's
No, you
that's
won't.
the yeah.
Yeah.
It's like no, you
when
won't.
no one's
yeah.
watching it?
Bad.
Okay.
yeah. But what was the question? Oh, how careful?
Motion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's people like when I was training people, we get done, they're like, man, that was great. Well, I'll see you on Wednesday, and they never show
Yeah.
up again.
Well, I
'Cause
think
they're just
it's
scared
yeah.
of it. Like,
It's a lot of patient education, and you have to. It all starts at the beginning. I don't do evaluation since I'm just PTA, but still, even the next session that I would see them, I'm still reinforcing, hopefully, what the physical therapist said, and just really talking about the difference between soreness and pain, like recognizing that you may be sore after these exercises. They're brand new. You have your muscles aren't used to this. But it's part of the growth and healing process. And then also just talking to them during the session, right? So like obviously if they're telling me that they're in a ton of pain and, they're fresh out of surgery or, their injury is acute, maybe that's probably not the time and place where I'm just gonna be like, go harder, like you can do it. I'm probably gonna be a little bit more caring and understanding. But if they've been with me and they're closer to discharge and they're ready to return to sport, then I am gonna be a little bit harder on them. And as long as I also know them and they seem like they're people who are doing their home exercises, I am gonna push them and I'm gonna expect them to be sore. But
I think this thing that is
depends.
missing a lot too is that like people go at like doing the light, easy exercise is great. And then once they can get past that, the next step is like, all right, like you're off into the world because you can now do your job, which is like a really low barrier of entry.
Yep.
Like when they released me back to work, I could walk. That was like my barrier of entry. And so then they don't do anything ever again. So like, do you ever suggest like, do you have the ability to tell people like, no, like they said you're kind of done after like 4 weeks, but like I need you for like more time?
Yes and no, but that's the complicated thing is always insurance because sometimes
Right.
people can't. You can't get more, and if you can't, it's unfortunate. But sometimes if insurance sees that they're doing things like squats and higher level exercises, then But again, and it's always just about documentation because sometimes you can document it just right. That you can justify needing them to be here. But the last clinic that I was at really emphasized home programs, and so someone may not necessarily have to see me all the time, but if they were good at their home program, I feel comfortable updating their home program one more time to be a little bit more specific, to carry them out for the next few weeks and being like, this is probably what you can probably start doing in the next few weeks. You should be doing this. So obviously the answer that no one likes to hear is it depends, right?
Right,
But,
yeah. The insurance thing sucks. That's the same thing. People were just like, right, you're done. And I was like, I mean, I'm not, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And the doctor told me something like, I will continue to do it.
Yeah.
But like, not a lot of other people are good.
Yeah, you really just have to have that conversation with them to and be realistic of, one, just realistic to their goals, but also being able to explain to them just the physiological adaptations that have to happen in order for them to get to the goals. And
Yeah, and the other caveat has to be not only will they do it if you send them home and do that at-home training, but also what the hell is it going to look like? Like that's
Right.
the biggest issue with me. I've gotten to a point where I almost will not program dead bugs for individuals as preparatory work unless I've done it with them in person. I know they're a very intentional athlete, or a variation I've been really high on lately is that banded dead bug just because they can't go into extension. But you're almost reinforcing more harm than good by them doing it incorrectly. They're just in constant extension. So I imagine that has to be the other big limitation is how the hell are they going to actually perform these exercises? What intent are they going to bring to them?
and to final thought, I guess, is just, there's always going to be expectation versus, reality, because, there's so many times where I've programmed, whether it be in the clinic or for clients, where it's just like, I know that this isn't ideal. This isn't what I want to program, but you have to meet the individual with where it's at, right? With where they're at. And so it's like, yes, this is one way to do it. And by textbook or by course or whatever, if you want to have it look right on paper, you want to say something or write it down, but then that that's not how it's going to go, right? And then suddenly it's all out the window. And, you always got to just meet the person with where they're at.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, we're good to wrap. I know we got